And welcome back to Who Would Win. This one comes to us from Tiki Toby Generator X. Again, names, people. Nothing wrong with names, just names. And you asked who would win in a fight: Spider-Man versus Morro from the Ninjago series, Lego Ninjago. Now, I didn't see the movie, nor do I actually know Lego Ninjago, so I had to look him up. Essentially, he was a ninja, or trained to be a ninja. Was hoping to be the next, I think, Green Ninja or something along those lines. Didn't get anyone evil. Now, he is a skilled martial artist, very egomaniacal, very goal-driven. He's also short-sighted and juvenile and can easily be, what's the word I'm looking for here? Taken advantage of. But he's also skilled at creating wind. His abilities include what are not completely limited to, and it's not a huge roster. In fact, his actual ability bio, at least from the official site here, or official wiki, isn't a lot. He's a prodigy child born in the martial arts and uses his elemental powers and specialized in aerokinetic enhanced combat. In combat, he's capable of dominating the battlefield by inhibiting movements of his opponents with powerful cyclones and gales of wind, which consistently throw his enemies off guard. He can use this to great effect, as he can interfere with the ability to use spin jitsu, which doesn't really matter in this case. He's even strong enough to use the wind to trap Destiny's bounty. I have no idea what that is, if I'm going to be completely honest. Obviously, Spider-Man, we'll use Peter Parker here. God, do we really need Spider-Man's backstory right now? Was bitten by a radioactive spider, gained powers, became a superhero. There you go. Great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben! Anyway. So, yes. Spider-Man's powers have kind of fluxed a little bit. Like, he's at one point actually had organic web shooters. Generally speaking, they're not. He has to make them. Strength-wise, Spider-Man, it's harder to pick where Spider-Man actually stands strength-wise. I've seen it where he's depicted about, like, he can only lift about 10 tons. He can lift more than that. Peter Parker, one second. Peter Parker, smart but lazy. Let's see. Peter Parker. Let's see where they give us in terms of a actual like strength category right now for Spider-Man, because I honestly don't know where Spider-Man stands right now in terms of strength. He's done a lot of stuff strength-wise. A lot of stuff. All right, so obviously moving ahead to some other things while I'm getting this information up. There we go. These for his nickname classified power level 8, wall crawling. So obviously he can adhere to surfaces. Basically, due to the fact that he has exposed to mutated Spider-Man induced a mutagenic cerebellum-wide alteration to his engrams, resulting in the ability to mentally control the flux of Can't you just say he's got little hairs on his whatever? Overcome the outer electron shells, normal behavior, mutual repulsion, with outer electronic shells, blah, 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 blah. This mentally controls subatomic particles and is yet to be identified. The ability to affect the attraction between surfaces is so far limited to Spider-Man's body, especially concentrate on his hands and feet and other objects. Okay, what the hell is Mark of Cain? That's a new one. Mark of Cain. Cain, the relatively amoral clone of Spider-Man. I don't even know of this character. Or is this the Scarlet Spider? Has been shown to use this wall-crawling ability in more of the offensive ways, burning distinctive scars known as the Mark of Cain in the face of the victims. Spider-Man itself used a variation of the same ability to escape the Green Goblin by making his fingertips cling to his face and tearing them away. So he can't do that, I suppose. Superhuman strength. Okay, all right, now we get something about his strength. Let's see here. Spider-Man possesses superhuman strength, enabling him to press lift many tons. He's shown to easily swing a 3-ton wrecking ball with a steel chain. Physical strength is sufficient enough to enable him to lift and throw objects as heavy as a big red truck with ease, and land a jet. He estimated it had to be a landing weight of either between 175,000 to 215,000. Now I remember that he did struggle to do that. That was like that had to have been the upper limit of his strength. He must also pull his punches and kicks unless someone is basically durable enough to withstand it. Otherwise, blows would prove fatal to normal people. He's gone toe-to-toe with people like the Juggernaut, the Hulk before. He's incredibly powerful. Though I always feel like people hype him in terms of strength and power. Superhuman speed. He's capable of running and moving at the speeds that are far beyond the natural limits of an athlete, though he's not a speedster. Keep that in mind. Stamina, durability, he can take a lot of lickings. He can take a lot of lickings. Survived multiple blows of the Hulk as well as surviving a point-blank missile explosion. Did not get out of those unscathed, though. Agility, obviously, he does have a healing factor, like a rapid regeneration. It's not like Wolverine levels, but it's pretty good. After getting his powers, he soon found that his eyesight was repaired, disregarding his glasses. During a battle with a villain called Masked Marauder, Spider-Man was rendered completely blind. However, about 2 hours later, his sight was perfect, albeit sensitive, for about an hour after. In his encounter with Firebrand, he suffered severe third-degree burns and completely recovered in a little over 2 days. He proudly admits he can't heal Wolverine quick. Yeah, no, Wolverine is like the benchmark for how you grade healing factors. Enhanced immune system. Obviously, he has his spider sense as well. It's basically a precognitive omnidirectional awareness of your surroundings. He's got to choose to react to things, though, and he's got to be fast enough to react to something. He has an indomitable will, gifted intelligence. He's an expert inventor. He's actually a master martial artist. He has it known as having a technique or a style known as Spider Fu. His feats include defeating Firelord, Daken, Wolverine himself, Sinister Six, single-handedly, Quicksilver, and the X-Men single-handedly, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Otto Octavius, Spider-Woman, both Black Panther and Hawkeye, and Moreland, his stalemated Captain America, Julia Carpenter, and Shang-Chi. That said, before we wank him off too much on his hand-to-hand skill, let's be very clear, this comes from the fact that he has his spider sense. If he did not have his spider sense, I'm certain he'd still be a skilled, maybe a master martial artist, but it would not go the same way for a lot of these guys. That spider sense is kind of OP when you know how to use it. Like many superheroes, though, he does have a set of weaknesses, including spider sense disruption. He can lose its effectiveness or block temporarily weakened. Also, Spider-Man, he does not register to threats. If it detects something that is not registered as a threat, like the Spider-Man clones or the Venom symbiote, its offspring, anti-Venom, Skrull, whatever, then when deprived of its spider sense, becomes vulnerable to surveillance attacks, and web slinging requires more of its concentration. Ethyl chloride is basically a pesticide. It's his own actual kryptonite, and bad luck. Not exactly a flaw or disadvantage in crime fighting, but Peter's life is generally complicated one. Basically, he has a run of bad luck. He also has his web shooters, utility belt, which has a bunch of like his tracers, Spider Signal, Avengers ID card, different forms of web shooters. He's also had many different forms of spider armor, surprisingly, but we're not going to get into spider armor. We are just basically going to look at Spider-Man as a whole. And when you break this down, Morro would give Spider-Man a little bit of trouble. His win would keep Spider-Man at bay for a little while. But Peter's intelligent enough and quick-witted enough and skilled enough to find a way around this. He would more than likely... let's say this takes place in a park and Spider-Man's hanging on some trees and stuff. Morro's throwing out some wind gusts. Spider-Man's using his webs, throwing things back at him. He's using the wind to throw it back at him. Ooh, excuse me. Eventually, what would I think happen was Spider-Man throws something big like a large tree, or part of a large tree is getting cut away, toss it, webs onto it, and just as Morro's about to say nope, Spider-Man comes around and smacks him and just clocks him. Morro for me, unfortunately, while he has a pretty nice ability, there's only so much that he can use. He'll end up tiring himself out long before he takes out Peter. Peter's fought individuals far more powerful than Morro is. And Morro's not a weak character per se. He's kind of limited in what he's capable of doing. The fact that he can stop Spinjitzu doesn't really matter here. Because that's within game universe kind of stuff. And plus, it's wind. Yeah, it can form a powerful barrier, but strong enough individual can get through there. And yeah. Plus, he's very narrow-minded, focused, and determined, but despite having a gift for strategy, his narrow-mindedness and inability to let things go are his greatest flaw. And I'm sure Peter would realize that, because Peter knows how to exploit his opponent's weaknesses as well. Ultimately, I think he's just not really up for this test. And plus, even though he's a prodigy of martial arts, I don't think, again, it's hard to really gauge him just because it's Lego universe. So to actually gauge how strong he is in terms of martial arts compared to Peter in martial arts, just by going off of the what we've seen them do. It is very difficult to kind of judge that, but ultimately, I would say that Spider-Man probably beats him ultimately with martial arts, if nothing else because of his spider sense. So I'm gonna go Spider-Man. I'm gonna go Spider-Man on this, but let me know what you think. Spider-Man or Morro? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Got a what if to do, and then I'll be done for the day. So see you later, and have a good one.